Yeah, here.
Chicka, chicka.
Yeah.
Kill Bill and Rev. We don't suck.
Ooh. What up, blood? What up, cuz? Boom, baby, boom, baby, boom, baby, boom, baby, boom, baby, boom, baby. You like that?
That was really good, man.
Yo, where you been, boy? Where you been, dude? I haven't seen you in like 3 minutes.
Yeah, man. Fuck, it's been a grip. How's it going?
It's good, man. I'm just fighting off a disease. You know me.
Cool.
How about you, dude? How you doing?
I'm just trying to contract the disease.
Hey, blood, bring it in. Let's mouth kiss again.
Again. Okay. Hey, so it's been like a month. I think it's been almost exactly a month since we last dropped a We Don't Suck podcast episode.
Completely your fault.
Yeah, so it's been... We took some time off. We took a month off because of the holiday season, and also we've been just kind of busy with personal lives. And as some of you might know, we've just released a new tape together. It's titled New Moon.
That shit big trash, boy.
No, fucking big garbage. But it took us a while just sort of sorting everything out behind the scenes for it. In terms of the album art, in terms of the mastering, in terms of the whole marketing strategy behind it and everything. We just wanted to bring you guys something cool, and I hope y'all enjoyed that. And we actually wanted to dedicate our return episode to going through the track list and kind of giving you guys a bit of a background on some of these songs. What do they mean to us? We're not gonna do no genius, breakdown of lyrics. Just kind of give you a general idea of what it's all about.
Yeah, man. Like, we're not gonna be like sitting here just like, yo, on this bar, I was clearly talking about when we went to Morocco and I got impregnated by Rav again. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because we're not ready to talk about that.
Plus, I'll be saying that about almost every bar.
Read between the lines, folks.
Yeah.
Any song, just think about it. RPG, Morocco. Black Coffee, Morocco. I mean, I can't think of a single song where it's not about that night in Morocco.
That was a wild ass night, boy. I never drank that much gasoline. Pure gasoline.
Yeah, man, dude, that shit was so...
irresponsible?
It was so irresponsible, and honestly, we ought to be ashamed of ourselves.
Yeah, well,
So,
it is what it is.
I was thinking, Bill, the other reason why we've been away this entire time is because we were running around the globe, including Morocco, trying to find some new sponsors worthy of being on this podcast in 2019.
Yeah, man, it's been hard to find sponsors since we've just been just in Morocco for the past 15 years. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. But even though it has been difficult, I've never set out to do something and then accomplished it. What?
What? It's like when you go to say something, it just isn't like a sentence. I never went out to do something and it happened.
So, but I think this time I actually accidentally made something happen with your help.
Yeah, after all these years.
Without further ado, I mean, all right, Bill, just go for it.
Oh, man. Okay, I got a question just for the fellas out there,
Ladies, close your ears.
Close your ears, close your eyes. Actually, just leave the room,
Just get out.
Get out, you're not welcome
get out
here
of town.
anymore. Leave town, leave the country,
Like absolutely pack a couple things with you, be responsible about it. Not like how Bill and I were in Morocco. Grab some stuff, grab a snack, and get out. Just leave.
Okay, this is a question just for the fellas out there. Have you ever just been hanging out and You're at your house, your home, your place of residence, your apartment, you know, hanging, just you and the boys, half naked,
Man.
playing a little Red Dead Redemption, mouth completely full of chaw. Okay.
I mean, that's what I'm doing right now. That's crazy that you're saying all
dude.
of this.
You know what I'm saying? Anyway, and you're thinking to yourself, I can't fit enough chaw in my mouth. I can't get enough chewing tobacco in my mouth at one time because you have to breathe and do other things. You know, eat. No, fear no more, because we have the product for you straight from Ripley's. Great company.
Great company.
Great company.
Thank you.
They source everything from a very shady part of China, but it's okay. It's cheap.
Yeah.
The Ripley Mouth Expander Chaw Edition. Now, okay, let me explain the technology. I know you're thinking to yourself, how could this work? And, I'm not entirely sure, but I can tell you how these scientists told me. It's a little tube. It's about the size of like a tampon. And you put it in your mouth and you bite down, and then it's metal, and then it just like widens out your mouth. And it's been tested on rats and other small animals, and it was fine, so it should be good for you. And that way you could just pack in as much as you can possibly fit. You look like a chipmunk or something, like with nuts in its mouth, but instead of nuts, it's that sweet tobacco-y goodness. And then that way, you can just get that sweet nicotine buzz that we all know and love. Rav, tell me about this. Tell me, some stuff.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night just wondering, what am I doing here?
Right.
But then I remember my mouth is hella wide. And everything kind of makes more sense,
Exactly, man. You can fit, and you don't have to just use chaw. You can use other stuff. You can actually use it. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I mean, if you're vegan, right?
Right.
We've got vegan options out here for you, in terms of activities that you can partake once you've widened your jaw, right? So, plantains rather. Did I say plantains?
Yeah.
I mean plantains too. Don't know what that is, but that too,
Yeah.
Just fit a plantain in your mouth, and just kind of like, if people ask questions, just be like, "Hey, I'm vegan."
Exactly. I mean, isn't chaw vegan?
I mean, look, Bill, I don't make the rules. I didn't write the Bible.
If you're not one of these sissified vegan types and you want some good old raw protein, you can actually use this to... You can eat a baby hippo whole this way, like a snake. That'll show those vegetarians. You pull up to the protest with the baby hippo in your mouth.
Now, see, Bill, that's just being silly. Guys, I'm going to give you a practical reason for using this product. So, you on your way to your date, right? You got the I don't know, what are you bringing her? Let's say you got chocolate box in one hand, you got the card in the other hand. Where do your flowers go?
You taking her to Shoney's?
Where? Right, but where did the flowers go?
Oh, dude, I don't know, dude.
That's right. Fit that bouquet in your goddamn mouth. Walk up to her doorstep, and I mean, because your hands are busy, you can't ring her door, so just like kind of bang your forehead against the door. And when she opens up, or her father opens up and they see you, they know you mean business. And and you'll hear Mr. Jared go, he's a keeper. He's a keeper, that one.
He's a real good boy, they'll say silently to
that
himself.
One, there's a keeper. Yeah, they will, right.
You'll show that bitch what for. Did you mean business? And you taking her to the Shoney's with the gift card your grandma gave you for your birthday.
Right. And the entire date you can keep the bouquet in your mouth if you're a gentleman, because you don't want her to like carry anything throughout the date, right?
Right.
Because you grew up in a family where like the gendered standards and like rules are very defined, and everyone's like really old timey and shit. So you don't let the lady do anything. You don't let her pick up stuff. Like the moment she picks something up, you just like knock her out. You know?
Exactly, man. And like
it's for her.
You gotta
good.
hold her purse in there too. You gotta put her purse in there because you know that she can't be carrying all that stuff. She's a lady. You know, but I mean, if you want to keep it 1,000, you know, if she's concerned, why you got flowers in your mouth? Why you got my purse in your mouth? Why'd you punch me in the face? You just look her in the face and you just say, I'm a traditionalist. I believe in the family unit, you know? And if she stays, then boy, howdy. You know?
Boy, howdy, because she's a keeper. And a match made in heaven, I would say, you know? Just you describing that there, Bill, made me kind of think, we finally done it.
Maybe chivalry ain't dead, Bo.
That's what I've been saying. I've been saying that. So, hey, don't forget to go cop that mouth whitener.
Yeah, get that sweet Kipling's mouth whitener Chaw edition.
Chaw edition.
So you get that sweet chaw.
And you know, so whenever you walk on in a situation where people are just like bouncing small talk off of one another, you could be like, what y'all talking about?
Yo, that's so good. Yo, pound it. Bring it in.
Nah,
Come
pound
on.
it. Okay.
A little closer.
All right, that's a little too close.
All right, yeah. Well, you're
well, you're a bit wet. What? You're kind of damp.
Oh,
Okay, that's all right.
No,
Anyway,
that's
well,
fine.
thank you to our sponsors.
Just excited.
Very happy.
Happy to be here.
Yep, same here. You know, good year, good product.
Good year, good tire,
start to the
brother.
year.
Okay, let's get to the brass tacks of stuff.
Let's do it.
I'm sorry. I feel like I'm gonna die.
That's fine. We all are. So the feeling, you got to trust that feeling, Bill.
Exactly.
So, Bill, I have a question for you. What is New Moon?
It is a record
That's true. Facts. Big facts.
Big facts. It's a record that you and I made together over the course of 16 years. Can't believe it
That's
took that
right,
long.
ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. No, it feels like it's been a while coming. I mean, it feels like we've always been talking about it. We've always been like, yeah, let's do an EP. At first, it started as an EP. That was originally the thing. It was supposed to be like just a few songs, and then all of a sudden we have 11 songs, and we're just like, well, it's an album now, I guess, a mixtape, whatever. It's free. You can get it for free, so I guess it's a mix. I don't know what is. I don't know what you constitutes a mixtape or not, but all of our stuff's always pretty much going to be free. So I don't know what.
I'll call it a mixtape because I mean, at this point, everything kind of bleeds together, right? So I'm not really sure, but yeah, it's true. Like I remember, I had a couple songs, and you had a couple songs where we were like, hey, we wanted to work with one another on them, complete them, and so we were just like, hey, might as well just like, you know, put them together and release an EP. And then I think over time we just kind of realized we had a little bit more music that we wanted to work on together, and then a few other songs like, oh, actually this would go very well with that collection of songs, and it somehow became what it is now. So
yeah, I'm really proud of it though, man. I went and the other day I just like sat down and listened to the whole entirety of it, and I feel like just because we were working so hard on it, it was like harder to like sit down and like enjoy it towards the end of it. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
But then like after that like layer of separation, because like it was like after we got done completely with the mix and master process, I got sick right after that, and then so like I was just like completely checked out like from everything for a few days, And then like after that like little time period, then I sat down and listened to it. I was like, oh, we did some cool shit here. This is cool. So
yeah, no, I'm really happy with it too. And considering we actually managed to put it together in a very short period of time, all things considered. And it was a bit stressful because we do have jobs and we do have personal lives that we have to maintain. And then there's that 5-hour difference between us, right?
Yeah,
in terms
definitely.
of time zones. All of those things played into, like, they all felt kind of like obstacles in getting in the way of trying to make this happen, but we persevered. And I don't know, I'm really happy with what we got here. And I'm really kind of like, I never expected that this was gonna turn out to be something longer than a 3-song EP, but I'm glad it is what it is.
Yeah, exactly. And it was kind of random too. I remember talking to you, and it was like at the point when we had like 7 songs done, but it felt like it wasn't that much, you know? And I was just like, yeah, man, blah, 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 this EP. And then you were like, yeah, this isn't an EP anymore. I was just like, wow, you're right, you know? And then like as we got on, it was like, okay, yeah, this is like, what was the total runtime? It was like almost like 38 minutes or something, right?
Yeah, it's just over 38 minutes, I think. So it's, let's just approximate it to 40 minutes, which to me personally, that's a really good length of a record. I kind of, if it's shorter than 22 minutes, it feels a little too brief for me, although I can also enjoy EPs. And then anything over 50 minutes, it kind of can become iffy. It doesn't always, but it can, because then it feels like you're sorting through the record for your favorite joints.
Yeah.
So I like to think that New Moon doesn't have any filler, so to speak. But what does New Moon mean to us? Where does this record belong in our discographies, and where does it belong in the context of our personal lives and creative directions?
I mean, to me personally, because I have a different brain and heart than you, so it might be a different answer.
I thought except for the fact we have a shared heart.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, dude. It's really weird that we have a shared heart, but we're, you know, is it like the movie or not Lionheart? Was it Dragonheart? What is the one where it's the guy in the heart? The guy,
Lion King.
The Lion King. The guy and the dragon share the same heart.
Right.
Dogs are barking.
Yeah.
Okay, no. To me personally, like, New Moon is kind of in the same like canonical like universe as like Ramona and Beneath the Toxic Jungle. Like, I mean, just because those two records I think mean a lot to both me and you, because like we both worked on them together like so hard, like we were so like involved in the process for both of those, and I feel like this is just that like amped up, you know what I mean? Like, because it's like there's a few solo songs from you, a few solo songs from me, but the rest of it is just 100% collaborative effort, you know, between us and other EXO members, and you know, we got Mega Ran in there too, you know. But like,
yeah, that's tight.
To me it feels like if you were to say that like Beneath the Toxic Jungle and Ramona were like in a universe, this would be like the trilogy, like completing that universe, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, I feel you. I definitely feel you on that. And yeah, I mean, how about we go through each song and we kind of break down what those songs mean to us, and then towards the end we sort of take a look back again at what New Moon means, and kind of, you know, wrap it up in a sentence or two for ourselves.
That sounds like an awful idea. Let's do it.
So for the first joint, Now You Don't. One summer can't fill a hole that's been dug for years. Crushed by fear, robust and fierce, chucking tears. The grudge is clear, up front ensues, the muzzle wears. Forget appearances, clearly no one fucking cares. I'm introverted with the flair for the dramatic. I'm sick of my despair, I'm so embarrassed. Sick of always caring, so emphatic, I'm erratic. And when I really should care, get distracted, it's apparent. I'm sick of hearing everybody's shit. Everybody's shit is worse than it's almost solo effort in terms of at least like song. It is sort of a solo effort, but then there's that Recadam verse during the second half of the track, acapella. To me, what Now You Don't is about is kind of me stepping away from an idealized memory, you know? It's me taking off those rose-tinted shades and kind of realizing that, you know, I have to move on. I think for the longest time, I was looking back at that summer when we made Ramona, and I look back at it in a very romanticized way because that was the summer where I felt I was really disconnected from a lot of the issues that permeated my life prior to that summer. And it was a nice kind of break from depression for me, for the most part. And so I was chasing that feeling for the longest time, and I thought that... And that summer did help me grow up. I think that was the summer when I grew up and sort of matured in terms of how I perceived myself rather than how I perceived everyone around me.
Right.
So Now You Don't is just sort of acceptance that I'm still not entirely fixed, and that a single summer cannot undo, decades worth of sort of pain and loneliness. And I don't want to sound like a downer, but you know, I've
no, but I feel you though.
I've dealt with depression a lot, and sort of Now You Don't is just kind of realization that it's not something that I'm done with just yet. And then Roger just absolutely kills it with arguably my favorite verse on the whole record. Just a very personal poem. Yeah, I really enjoyed that one. Just a very personal breakdown.
Roger tends to snap on records that involve me and you. I feel like it's just like a thing, like, because like his verse on Dream Eater, I think that verse that he did on this is like very similar, not necessarily in like tone or anything, but like the level of like realness that he was going on, like with personal stuff, and the same kind of stuff in Dream Eater. It was like very like personal, like stuff that like we know what he's talking about because he's told us things like about personal, like just people, you know. And then like, but the listener might not know what he's talking about. You know what I'm saying? I think less of that in this one, but like I think they're both like super personal and very like well written and like well delivered, you know.
Absolutely.
And so shout out Recadam for just generally crushing shit as per usual.
Yeah, no, thank you, man. Honestly, you outdid yourself on this one and really pulled the whole experience of that track together, in my opinion.
Hell yeah.
So Passion Fruit, that's
more like ass and fruit, get it? Cause
my god, dude, wait, break it down for me.
It's like passion is in the word already, and then they say ass instead of pass.
You lost me.
All right, well, the people at home, they'll get it. They got the VCRs with the rewinds on them. They can figure it out.
thoughts and actions constantly clashing. I suck with passion. My heart knows that you're fragile, but my mouth keeps button mashing. My ADD often distracting me, often irrationalization, trying to justify my often clumsy practice. From woeful winters and sour springs to summer sadness, I frequently fall short of what I often promise. Backlip into a solitary corner, feeling so sorry for myself, acting like nothing matters. But the truth of the matter is it's fruitless as a pattern. It's useless, stupid, it's damaging. Gotta mute it from happening. It's a bully, it's arrogant, can't be truly embarrassing. We're consumed by your shadow.
So Passion Fruit is the joint that follows the first song. And to me personally, this song was written with my fiance in mind, where oftentimes I find myself not being particularly good with words when it matters the most, and when it comes to dealing like with a very sensitive subjects or talking to a person that I care for the most. And that song was just kind of apologizing for how clumsy I can be and reiterating that I do indeed really appreciate this person's existence. Yeah, so that's what my verse meant to me.
Yeah, then we had the homie Square come in with the oohs and ahs, them fire ass. Imagine that, but like good.
Yeah, no, that shit was fire. He killed it.
Yeah, then my verse actually kind of differed in such subject matter a little bit. It was more about like, it was kind of a personal one, and it was like being afraid of change and like growth. Because like when I wrote that, which was actually a few months ago that I wrote that, I was at work. I was working full time at the time, and I just hate my job. You know, I like completely despise it. Like, do not enjoy it at all. And I was working like 5 days a week there or something, and I had this whole thing where I was like, I felt like I needed to like get up and like just change my life in some kind of way and get out of there. And I was just like afraid almost to get out of that box because I was like so deep in it, if that makes any sense.
Right, yeah.
And like it's like mixed with that and like being like afraid to like advance forward with my life because I'm just like afraid I'm gonna fuck it up, if that makes any sense. And I'm afraid that I'll change. And that was like one thing that was like a prevailing theme, and that was like I'm afraid that I'll change who I am to like fit in with like how my life is supposed to be or whatever. And like it's almost like kind of in a weird way like an apology to myself in some parts of it, just because it's just like, why are you doing this to yourself? You know what I mean?
Right.
So, and then Square came back in with them oohs and ahs.
It's really
just bring it back.
It's really interesting to hear sort of your perspective, what your verse meant to you, because I think change also is thematically something that kind of keeps coming in and out on this record for both of us. And even on Passion Fruit, on my verse, sort of touching on wanting to change and not using my depression as an excuse or my ADHD as an excuse to not get better, you know? And so I guess I more so discuss the need to change, and the need to change and kind of not create obstacles for myself and use those as excuses to people that I care about, including myself. So, yeah, Passion Fruit was really fun to make.
It's one of my favorites on the record.
Yeah, same here.
So then we got what was next? We got the when I'm successful, I'm gonna buy a Neo Geo.
That's right.
Ooh, this is fun. This is a fun one.
I'm floating on the Nimbus, getting lifted. Got that red and blue potion, fit to whip it into sippage. Flow like a septic tank, water thick as gunk. I'm above y'all fucking heads, it's like I'm on a different bunk. Get the butter dipping skunk, I hit the wax like it's needle drops. I can't let them down, but shit, I'm nervous when these people watch. Smoke dope and people watch. Park days, stupid bro. Can't believe it's bedroom, the parquet studio. Iced out, neck cross, Kanye, blooper roll, exodium, neck cross. Do y'all play Yu-Gi-Oh?
This is actually a lot of people who like have been in the EXO chat might have heard my verse on this like a long time ago. I just want to make something fun, and I was just kind of playing around with like weird harmony sounds. Mm-hmm. I had this thing. I like it. I like songs that are like super duper honest and like almost to the point where it's like funny.
Right.
And I was like kind of trying to go into that, like, just like it's like a smoking song, but it's also like I'm kind of making fun of myself and I'm kind of making fun of other people. And I'm in this weird place where it's just like I don't really like myself, but I don't really like other people. And it's like I'm almost trying to make myself seem cooler than other people, even though it's like, I don't know. It's funny. Like, I think the song's kind of funny. But what is that song for you? Because I know your verse is a little bit more personal than mine when it comes to stuff.
It's a little more personal, though. I mean, when I am successful, I also intend on getting myself a Neo Geo.
Yeah.
But yeah, my verse was coming more so from the perspective of actually when we were in Glendale last time. When we were in Los Angeles earlier, not this year anymore. That's right. When we were in Los Angeles last summer, I remember having like a really good time, but still like I had this weird resurgence of kind of depression coming on, and I was just trying to push it away. I remember just trying to make a conscious effort to push it away, and it felt like it was looming over me. And the song is just kind of the experience of like not really being hella depressed, but like you feel it coming on and trying to escape that from in this particular song by partaking in marijuana. And it's not a particularly self-destructive behavior in the sense that, I'm not saying like, shit, man, like, this drug helps me not deal with my problems. It's more so I kind of look for any excuse to kind of not deal with an issue and kind of just push it away, kind of like I'll deal with it later. So it's emotional procrastination, I guess. That's what my verse is about.
Right. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I knew a lot of it just from listening to your verse, and like there were very specific things that you were like referencing that I was like physically there for, like the whole thing with like the chocolate.
Oh yeah.
And like all that shit, you know what I'm saying? Like I know that it's kind of a sad verse, but it makes me happy because it reminds me of that particular time, which was like I was definitely like the furthest away from depression that week. Like I was so fucking excited to be there.
It was a fantastic week, but I remember I was so disconnected in certain moments. Like when I was staying with Matt over at Matt's place for a few days, I remember kind of just getting lost, like in my own mind, thinking about things that are like, oh, I'm gonna have to deal with this. That's gonna happen. This is temporary. And then sometimes I get lost in thought, thinking like, man, they probably think I'm a loser because I'm just kind of quiet. I was oftentimes quite low energy during that time, and I think I was overthinking the fact that I was low energy at that time. And all of these were just adverse effects of like a very minor form of depression that I was experiencing at the time, or a wave.
Yeah. No, I definitely feel you on that. Yeah. And I mean, especially towards the end of it, like when we were leaving, I was feeling that way because I was like, wow, I have to go back to normal life again. You know what I'm saying? Right. Whereas like that was like a dream come true, just being there. Like the whole week, the entirety of that week was like incredibly cool for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then when like the snap back to reality.
Yeah.
Get it?
Dude.
Snap back.
Oh, dude, it's Mom Spaghetti. Well, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Good song. Fun
Spaghetti.
song.
Yeah, dude. I like that. I like that song a lot, like how it turned out.
So let's talk about Love Drug.
Love Drug.
Let's talk about Love Drug.
Love Drug.
Off that.
I ran away from my feelings. Still don't know no better, baby. Late night drug dealing. Always one time for my feelings. Lately nothing makes sense. upset for being with you. Love don't pay the rent, but baby, love songs do. I'm off my own, chakra bone, shaka boom, baby boom. Fuck around and catch some feelings, let them bloom, shake the room. I don't bruise, live a little with it, but a crew. Bumps in the back with the bruise, what the fuck could I lose? Stick shift stuck on cruise control, I'ma lose control, I'm off that. I'm off that. I'm off that. I'm off that.
Bust when I cross time bridge, pump full of drugs of the love type bitch. Trying up to mostly do right. Old devices were sold on Vice. Now I slide through like gold on ice. She's so my type, and so I stroke my lights. Got a number and a call.
That was a fun one. I recorded. That was like one of the last ones we recorded.
Right.
But yeah, what does that song mean to you?
Man, I guess it's just kind of feeling love, like feeling a sense of like really feeling passionate about a person and kind of having no doubts about it, having no second thoughts or over analysis, just kind of jumping into it and really wanting to be all about that person and being with that person. It's kind of on the nose for me, you know. As I said, a lot of things that have changed my life, a lot of my perspectives that have changed, going from Ramona to Beneath the Toxic Jungle to here, have been shaped thanks to this relationship that I have. I've lived.
Oh, thanks, man.
Okay, yeah, cool. I've lived with my partner for 4 years now.
That's a weird way to say Bill.
And right, so I feel like before a lot of my attention was focused on melancholy and sadness and myself and like why do I hate this? Why do I hate myself? I've always written what I felt about. And on this record, it's no different. I think a lot of my life now revolves around her. A lot of my happiness, some of my strongest emotions and feelings revolve around her. So it just made sense to dedicate yet another verse to her. And this time it's not an apology, it's just an ode to the person that I love. Incredibly in love with, and I love her more each day.
I feel that, dude. That's good. My verse, my parts kind of like, they kind of deviate from that to an extent, and then it comes back in this weird snapback, like, to reality.
Stop
it goes rapid. Okay, so I'm sorry, dude. But no, like, originally, when I set out to make the song, and in the hook and stuff, I was kind of comparing, like, how, like, we as, like, artists in general, it feels kind of like we're pimping out our emotions to make stuff for the world to enjoy, art or music or whatever. And sometimes I feel like I consciously will do that, and sometimes it'll be like just 100% real, and then sometimes it's like I feel like I'm like putting a little bit too much out there for the world, and sometimes I don't want the world to know all my problems or how I'm feeling. And it's kind of like this weird like duality of like, I don't want to be too specific all the time because I have friends who listen, and I don't want them to be like, wow, you talked about how I was a shitty roommate or something like that, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, you know, or whatever, you know, I'm not saying that, but like some kind of specific thing, you know? And so it was kind of about that, and it's almost like comparing it to like how people would deal drugs or something like that, and we're dealing, like, I feel like I'm like dealing a love drug, you know? And then as I'm like going into my verse, it just becomes this like, I'm just talking about my girlfriend and just like like how much I love her, pretty much, you know what I'm saying? It like morphs into that. So it's funny because it started off with the intent of like kind of making fun of myself, or not making fun of myself, or like pointing that out, that I do that sometimes, and then it became like this sincere thing, you know, and like this kind of almost introspective look at our like relationship, and like, you know, how sometimes I feel like I'm dumb because I don't understand how she thinks, and I try my best to, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, so that's kind of like where my head was at anyway.
I like that, man. There's a lot of layers to that. Yeah.
Yeah, dude,
really
like
good.
an onion.
Like an onion, man. It make me cry, man. Also,
hey, man,
with mine, one other thing I didn't mention is, as I said, it's pretty on the nose the only thing is, it was definitely written from the perspective of like early on in the relationship before it really became a relationship. But of course, it's sort of emphasized or like magnified in when sort of assessing it through hindsight, and also kind of wanting to leave the city life behind us, because both of us want to leave the city. And I don't know, I've a lot of my records have sort of touched on subjects pertaining to escape and just going anywhere but now and anywhere but here. And I think part of it is just kind of being exhausted and anxious from having a 9-to-5 job, 4 hours in transit every day on a packed train where I hold my nose, and in a city that's just too big and crammed for me. And so
listen, man, this is what you need to do, man. I got a solution to your problems, your life problems. Okay,
hit me.
You need to move South Carolina, live on a farm, and farm up some good chaw.
Bo,
and then that's it. You ain't got to worry about none of that shit. You just got, all you got is your music and your chaw farm.
So are you telling me that Love Drug ain't about boner pills?
I mean, it could have been. It could, it's whatever you interpret it as the listener. And I think that, you know, most people would come to that conclusion.
Tell me about Sleep Talking.
Sleep Talking.
My mama told me speak, but words are held accountable. Speaking starvation, feeling worthless cause my mouth is full. Work is insurmountable, curb me with the palpables. Unexplained abstract, serving by the mountain full. Circuits I just drown into, a circus Santa clown into. Work, slack, work, what the fuck is that amounted to? Awkward interactions at the grocery store. Homies turn to overlords, at least holy tend to win at holy war. Sonic with the conies, boy, I'm Sonic, get your cronies floored. Blunt gut graveyard, I tag this shit as Stogie Gore. Boy, I count pennies, but never ever spend them shit. Special K, gnarly dude, I'm sloppy as my penmanship. Watch me while I live this shit. Silly with the gunplay, cartoons and cereal.
Let's see. Shout out Lando for absolutely murdering that beat. Let's see. Sleep Talking was kind of like this stream of consciousness song that I did, almost as if it was from the perspective of someone who was sleep talking. Like, or like you're on the cusp of like waking up from a dream and you're constantly just like bumping from idea to idea, thought to thought, and it's like chaotic and weird. And like that's like what I did, and sometimes I just write like that in general, and it's fun to write like that, like stream of consciousness.
Yeah.
And so like it bounces from like themes of like feeling inadequate at some points, and then it bounces to themes of like feeling like you're too good to be in places.
Right.
Towards the end, it all kind of comes to a head with this kind of like really sincere part, because I was pretty down when I was writing that. And I remember I got home from work and it was like mad late. It was like 4 a.m. when I was writing that, so early, I guess. And like I had to be awake at like 9:30 or something to go back to work. And I was just like, if all I feel like I do is just do things I don't care about and sleep, as soon as I'm like sleeping, it's like that's like when the fun happens. And then like I just get like snapped back to reality.
Oh shit.
So I get woke up, and then it's just like as soon as like that whole part where I was just like, my mama said never stop dreaming, I don't think I'll ever wake up from this heaven, and then I just fucking wake up. And that's how I felt like every day. And it was just like I'd wake up sleep deprived and then stay up all night because that was the only time I felt like I had fun, you know.
Definitely.
And so that's kind of what that song is about. So
tight.
That was a fun one.
I love that song.
Thanks, man.
Honestly, you and Lando both killed it.
Yeah, shout out Lando. He's a good old homie. We need to work again together. We talked about it in the DMs about doing something together again, but now we actually have to do something. I kind of want to get him singing on something too.
Let's talk about Saffron.
Saffron.
Waves start crashing into walls. Read between the lines, I be captioning my calls. Life is little monsters try to capture in the balls. Rappers think they slick until I trap them in my jaws. 45 gun tucks, sorta live, summed up. Bitch, I get it slapping like 45 nunchucks. Oh, I think I'm young buck. Shorty wanna ride with me. Old school and stickers on Atlanta 5950s. My city vibe with me. Bricks on the boards, ho. Hot as brick ovens. Why your shit so DiGiorno? Slip through the course slow. Inhale the dope, let it drift through your torso. Fuck it, what's the budget? See me at Rap playing Dreamcast and passing blunts. It's 2 a.m., could you please pass the Captain Crunch? Dab me up face first, what the business is. Burning up the block, homie had to get the biscuit in.
Corin's Tower.
Right.
Codename Corin's Tower.
Codename Corin's Tower. What does Saffron mean to you? I mean, yeah. What is Saffron?
Saffron, honestly, that beat made me think. And it's funny because you were the one who came up with the name for Saffron. It made me think of like playing Pokemon Blue or Pokemon Gold. And it like kind of put me in this weird nostalgic mood. And I wanted to do something fun over it. And like not get too serious or like specific. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so I just did this verse where I was just kind of having fun rhyming, just trying to do funny little punchlines here and there. And then just be like kind of honest, because like towards the end I get a little bit, I guess, a little more heavy, but not really. But what would you say that your verse was mostly about?
I'd say the first half of the verse was sort of coming to terms with some of my shortcomings concerning like how I've been bad at keeping relationships or maintaining or building relationships with people outside of EXO and my girl, because I don't really do that. I kind of stay in my own bubble, and I work on music so much sometimes that, or when I am working on music, I shut everything else off, and I can go for years without talking to somebody and then hit them up like, hey, what's good? And then sort of realize from their reaction that's like, oh, like, what do you mean, what's good? It's been years since we've last talked to each other. Like, you kind of just ghosted me. So the first half of the verse, I kind of transitioned from what you were saying with the, like, see, me and you got a thing we got to speak about. And it was me just kind of like, the truth is, oftentimes I do prefer music over friends in the way that I've seen myself behave. I don't know. I just kind of accept it and say it how it is, and there isn't any promise about getting better or being better. I do sort of mention that I try to make an effort, but I admit that I'm no good at it. And then it kind of just transitions into more like fun, silly braggadocio stuff.
Yeah, the Advil bar was where it was at, man. That shit was so fucking funny.
Thank you. So yeah, it just kind of went more in stream of consciousness. Like, I don't know, it just took me into a more fun place, and also I had a lot of nostalgic vibes listening to that.
I like
beat.
how our verses are like mirror images of each other's.
That's true. They meet.
It's kind of weird, right?
Yeah,
like,
they meet at a
mine started off funny and then kind of got a little more serious, and then yours started off serious and got a little more funny.
I mean, that's how it all goes, you know? I don't know. That's kind of funny that you pointed out. Our verses do kind of meet halfway. I like that.
Yeah.
It's a fun song.
Yeah, dude, 0 out of 10.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about songs that are less fun and high energy. Dirge.
Oh, man. Oh, dude. I'm glad, because I want to talk about this song. This is a serious-ass song.
Absolutely.
I'm not waiting. I'm digging up a pit for me to die inside of, cause I don't trust these shaky hands. No. I'm digging through your little stack of lies that piled up, so you don't have to face me, man, I'll do it for you. I got my shovel, got my gloves, I got my tuxedo. I got my shovel, got my gloves, I got my tuxedo. I got my shovel, got my gloves, I got my tuxedo. Yo.
When I die, fuck it, I wanna go to hell. Cause I'm a piece of shit, it ain't hard to fucking tell.
The day is over, your head full of cerebral kaijus. She tries to comfort you and read your eyes to see inside you. She sees you're hurt, so she decides to give you a hug and seeks to find you as you proceed to feed your ceaseless cycle.
I originally wrote my verse right after Pete passed away. Rest in peace, Lil Pete. But you can actually apply this to like literally anyone you know that died, okay? But I feel like it really kind of comes through really, it really shows, I was trying to point out that like people don't appreciate things until they're gone. Now you don't have to do this with people. This could be relationships, which kind of, I know your verse was a little bit more in that direction.
Yeah.
Or just friendships, anything, you know. But I just remember when Little Pete passed away, because I was just getting into Peep a little bit harder at that point, because like I'd only heard Hellboy and I really didn't like Hellboy that much. And then like I went and listened to some other songs, and it was like literally like the week that he passed away was like when I was kind of getting more into his stuff. And then like I saw after he passed away, it was like a lot of people that were like, oh my God, I can't believe he died. I was such a big fan. But like there was like literally people I saw who were like making fun of him when he was alive, that were saying that. And I know people do that and that's just how it is, but it kind of made me mad because it was just like, that's like a person. Then he was like a good guy too. That was the thing that was like kind of fucked up about it. Like he didn't really do anything like wrong to people, you know what I mean? And or that I knew of, you know.
Right, he was just self-destructive. That's it.
He was pretty self-destructive, yeah, and it was very apparent, you know, and that he needed help, you know, and like when you're sitting there downing Xanax after Xanax after Xanax on your Instagram live, like you know that it's like a cry for help, you know. And so he when he passed, I just felt mad because I was just like, I was mad for him because I was imagining like when like if I died, right, if I died, anyone who ever made fun of me and then acted like they were like best friends with me or something after I passed away, I would be pissed off. If I was a ghost, I would haunt them. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? And right. So like that was kind of what inspired it all. And I was just like saying like basically like, what if that was you? Like, what if it was me? Like, would they Post Malone me? Would they like me? Would they not? You know what I'm saying? Would I be forgotten? Like, you know, and that's basically where it all came from. And it was just like more like time to get rid of whatever baggage you've got out of the way now towards me, because I could be gone tomorrow. And so that's kind of like that's what my whole take on it was, you know. So, but go on, I want to hear yours.
I just wanted, before I get started on that, I love your verse, and I love how
Thanks, man.
The hook and everything, the way you've assembled it. I sort of took a cue from the subject matter that you touched on and applied it in a way that was more personal for me. Again, keep sort of sticking to the trend of my girl being something that has really affected and changed me over the years. I sort of present this hypothetical in which you lose the person that means the most to you. So I guess my verse is just about the consequences of taking those precious things that you have for granted, and that
right.
And, you know, everybody says you don't notice what you have until you don't have it, but just kind of when you're spending your last night, you're sleeping next to the person that you love, or, you know, you've been taking for granted. You might not even realize it's the last time you're doing it, and it just feels like such a whatever night, just a nothing. You don't even think about it. You don't sit down and kind of like really assess it and until it's over, and then you look back and it almost kind of, that night becomes a tragedy in hindsight, you know? And like I wish I hugged this person. I wish I told them how much they mean to me. And again, it's kind of similar to passion fruit in the sense that this is kind of like the outcome if I don't learn from the mistakes that I touch on passion fruit. This is a potential outcome where I sort of wallow in my depression so much that I kind of end up losing things that matter to me and that actually help me in coping with a lot of those difficulties.
I really like your verse as well, man. Like I'm glad that was like one of the first songs we did for this, I guess.
Yeah, it is. That's true.
Yeah, and it was I think it turned out pretty good. Let's see, what was after Dirge?
Right after Dirge, we have Put It Down, featuring Megaran.
Put It Down.
I stepped inside a room full of blue. Chances are that every rumor is true. I speak slowly, cause in this town it seemed like every creep know me. I should drop a mixtape and market strictly beats only. Y'all should know be eavesdropping, so I'm lighting the wood slow. Old school heat, it's like igniting a wood stove. Amalgam thinking like a wishing well jeweler. Mini me's jocking, may y'all kids some sell juniors. Flipping cards, trying not to trigger trap hoes. Y'all trying to wrap this up, you're gonna need a bigger lasso. Chilling out with Rand, best believe we kicking fat flows. If you ain't trying to crush it, why the hell you spitting raps for, huh? I push it back, putty tat, the cat is so sick. Y'all run the zigzags like it's freaking...
Shout out Megaran, the big homie.
Shout
Random out. Yeah, this is actually full disclosure, my verse was actually recorded a long time ago, like 2015 or something. And yeah, because it was like right after Resin, and I sent it to Megaran, and it was originally just gonna be a song with me and him, and I was like, I just want to do a song that was just like fun, punchliney, you know, just something old school hip hoppy kind of, but like have this like, has the beat is kind of like a future funk kind of vibe to it, you know what I mean? And I sent it to his email, and I'm pretty sure he never got it, or he just never listened to it, because we talked and I sent him like 2 songs, and then he heard the other one, and I don't think he heard that one.
Right.
And so then like he hit me up the other day and was like, yeah man, we need, because we never actually finished a collab, like an official one that wasn't like me remixing one of his songs or something, you know? And he hit me up, was like, yeah man, we need to actually do something. And I resent him the song, and he was like, oh yeah, it's got my name in there and everything. And I was like, yeah, I said this like a long ass time ago, you know what I'm saying? And then he was like, oh man, let me get on that. So then he sent me his verse, Ravi did your verse, and then I sent it to him like right after, and he seemed to really like it. And he killed his verse. I really like your verse too.
Oh,
I
thanks,
think
man.
all around I think it turned out pretty hot. But yeah, it was just a fun song for me, just like some punchliney shit. But what did it mean to you?
Oh yeah, this one's the deepest one out of all of them.
Yeah,
definitely. I think this is the one where I open up and bare all. It's just a fun song. I wanted to say some silly stuff. You know, coming up in hip hop, you and I both have kind of oftentimes go off on like freestyle tangents where we just rhyme silly things together, or we say funny things that trying to make each other laugh. And it's been the case since when we first came up on Newgrounds. And to me, that was just kind of revisiting that headspace, just having fun.
Yeah, exactly. Which is also kind of a weird, it's funny that you mentioned like the Newgrounds days, because like I looked up to Ran so much back then when I still do, but you know what I mean? Like I was a real fanboy of his, and it would be really funny because it feels like I made this whole song was catered to me like 10 years ago. Like,
yeah.
If I were to go back in time and be like, yo man, 10 years from now you're gonna make this song, you're gonna be putting this song out, then I would be like, oh my god, you know what I'm saying? Like I love it, you know, like so it's kind of like a weird little thing. What was, okay, I have to expose you. What was the bar that you ended up taking out of the song that was bad funny?
Fuck, I took a couple bars out.
There was one really funny one because you were like, "Yeah, I gotta say that," and then like,
Oh my God.
then I would be like, "Oh, what was the bar?" It was so funny. I can't remember.
Let me take a look at it because I have it in front of me. Hold on.
It was something about like peeing yourself or something weird. No, it was a catheter. Something about a catheter.
Oh yeah, it was something about a catheter. Hold on. Yeah. I don't remember the whole, like, I know it was like a funny rhyme scheme, but I think I said I was like, I'm cocky like a catheter. Yeah.
Dog, if we don't put out the remix, the G mix that just says like in the background, I'm cocky like a catheter, cocky like a catheter, over and over.
Because Megaran's, like, throughout his career, he's always kept it very clean, his records and his verses. So I thought, wouldn't it be funny if I followed his song and I compared a blunt to Pinocchio's dick. I said I was cocky like a catheter, and I said this and that. I just said a whole lot of reckless shit, or like a whole lot of stupid shit.
Great.
Just to like act as a stark contrast to what Megaran is, you know. And I think I ultimately decided to dial it back a little bit for the final verse.
Yeah, well, you just got to keep cocky like a catheter, like in the chamber, so you can just shoot somebody with that one day in a random rap battle.
Exactly. I was gonna say in a rap battle. Just yeah, you're right. I got it in my back pocket.
Yeah. Just keep that ready to go. Yeah, that was a fun one. And then after that was the fair one, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Fair one.
No,
dude.
actually, no.
You start
hold up.
You had verse.
No. It wasn't fair one. The next song this next song was Cult.
Oh, it was Cult. Okay. Why was I thinking it was Fair One?
One time for your man. One time for your man in the back. One time. One time for your man. One time for your man in the back. One time for your man. She told me when we smoke, it's like she chewing on candy. Little globes in her mouth, I'll let her swallow my galaxy. Digest, suspect, puffin', I'm dodging chemicals. I used to drop Lucy by the pond and talk to minerals. Breathe the dirt, decrepit, the shoulders on my demons hurt. Dripping self-low, then let it splatter on my jeans and shirt. I touched the earth for the very first time. I flew a very long way. Shit, what could I say? To put it light, the glass shifted, now it talk when I touch it. Catching fish just to toss them in buckets, but fuck it, borderline. Counting up your illnesses, count your friendships. Bet $1,000 will kill them shits. Big money, holding more scars than you can rip from me. Sleeping on your couch and shit, dreaming of 1,000 bricks.
Cult, y'all might actually know this one if you were at the LA show or watched the LA show from last year or last summer. This was a solo joint. Rav isn't on it. I didn't invite him. He is ugly. The original, I actually originally rapped over an Evie beat over that, but I'm pretty sure that she was having some problems with her like label, and she was saying that she doesn't do leases anymore, or like any kind of, she doesn't sell beats at all like that anymore. So I think that it's all because of the label she's on. So I was looking around and I found this other beat from this other dude, Menta, and ended up using that instead. And it's got a different vibe to it. So it's kind of like a remix of a song that never existed, if that makes any sense. But yeah, this song is it's also kind of stream of consciousness, but at the end of the day, it's supposed to be about people. It's about my city and about my like attitude towards my city and how I feel like I run like a weird cult because like no one knows I make music here. Like I'll tell people like if they ask or something, you know, but like I don't go around advertising it. And then I come home and it's almost like I have this like different world on the internet with like people that like fuck with us or like have been rocking with this for a long time. And then like it's almost like being in charge of like this thing that's like it's almost taboo. It's like this weird like group of people, and we all make dumbass weird jokes all the time and listen to the same kind of music, and it's super sick. So I always like refer to it as like my cult, you know what I mean? And so it's kind of like about that.
It's cool.
So,
I really like it, and I remember hearing it. You rapped that verse online to me over Discord, and then you rapped it in Glendale when we were blunted in the gardens practicing for our set.
That's right. It took me forever to get it right because I kept stumbling. Remember, that was like a thing.
That's right. And then you killed it at the show, and I was providing ad libs, I think. And
yeah.
And so
you got them down.
Seeing you finally recorded, and I think the beat choice is so on point. It just really works well together. The way you mix the vocals is just perfect too. Great joint.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that shit. But yeah, now we're at Fair One.
Yes, that's right. Fair One is the next song.
All you scientists.
You keep kicking me when I'm down, motherfuckers, shoot the fair one. Disregarding how I feel, I'm going back to square one. Encouraging words, why can't you spare some? I bad hair day every day, can't get my hair done. Devices out soon as the blue light hits my eyes, I'm feeling nauseated. How this shit got all y'all hypnotized? I give a fuck how motherfuckers live their lives. Stop giving shit advice, you pathetic, patronizing little lies. Walking around on eggshells, think you suckers civilized. Spat out something edgy, think you suckers slick as ice. Your drivel got me all exasperated, thinking twice about my own decisions to step forward, share my feelings fine. Yeah, I'm a hypocrite, but I can hate you still as well as self. At least I don't try sharing every little thought I've ever felt. Dying in my soul, got melancholy in myself. You push your polished visions out while steady rotting in your shells. Your pride is fucking gross, you probably need help, but I'm not about projecting all your problems on myself. And if it sounds like a shot, just take it. I don't care about more than half of all y'all's faces.
Jump, 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 jump. Might die when you hit the bottom. Jump, 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 jump. Might die when you hit the bottom. Jump.
So yeah, Fair One, man. What did that song mean to you as a young man, a young British upstart?
All right, that's getting edited out. Let's see.
No, not about the audio editing.
Bill, you've been working too hard. Come on, man.
Right.
Yeah, Fair One. It's basically confronting the condescending cries of the internet. It's coming online. I oftentimes just I feel so frustrated. As I said earlier, with just the way my life is, oftentimes I get exhausted. I get anxious from everything that's around me, and it's sort of, I look to my phone in those moments to try to distract myself. And I feel like lately it just exacerbated my anxiety oftentimes, or my frustration, where there's people on one end just like super confrontational in the sense that they're looking for to be offended, or they're looking for someone to say something, and then they step in like, oh, that's offensive to this person, that's offensive to that person. And I'm not like, I'm not trying to make some sort of blanket statement. I'm just saying there are instances where I don't think it is that necessary, and people are fighting a fight that is just, it's not a worthless fight, but it's just not the right time. There's so many other things that we need to deal with first, and there's just certain things that are so minor, and people attacking people who don't mean any harm, and kind of, comedy being treated as if it's something more than comedy. And on the other hand, you have like people who are just fucking edgelords, and just trying to say the most offensive shit. They're just trying to be the counter force to those people walking around on eggshells, right? And laying the eggshells around. They're trying to just be like the polar opposite. And this sort of black and white side of the internet is infuriating. And everybody thinking that their opinion's so important can become quite frustrating to me. So that's what it was mostly about for me. Just kind of saying my piece. And I admit on my verse that I am oftentimes guilty of both myself. But I still hate it, you know. I'm just part of that group of people, I guess, I hate. But yeah, that's what it's about for me. And also the hook features aerospace, and he killed it.
Yeah, he absolutely murdered that hook. That hook is really hard. I really like the way everything turned out with the layering and everything with you and him.
Yeah, it sounds cool in my opinion.
Yeah, dude, it definitely sounds super radical. Yeah, my verse kind of picked up sort of on the themes that you were going on, but it was just like a general like feeling of just being like cynical and like angry at the internet and people and like other artists, particularly rappers, because rappers are annoying. Like high key, it's just like a thing.
True.
You know what I mean? Like just people, because everyone has egos, and I think that maybe it's just because everyone, you need some kind of ego to rap. Like it's just part of it, right? It's like to function as a rapper and just like talk about mostly yourself for like 40 to 50 minutes on a record, you have to have somewhat of an ego. But at the same time, like I think that carries over like into other people's like personal lives a lot. Mm-hmm. And everyone has fragile egos, and everyone is acting like I did this first, I did that first, when at the end of the day the thing you did didn't really matter because none of this matters. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of how I look at it. And like you can say it's like nihilistic or whatever, but at the end of the day, like we're just people making weird noises into microphones, and we should probably all check ourselves, you know? And that's kind of where I was coming from. So it's funny because like yours comes from a place from like talking about the internet and kind of a different frustration, but it's kind of just like a generalized frustration with the internet and like musicians on my verse. And also the last like 3 or 4 bars I just freestyled because I ran out of bars. I like miscounted, and I was like, I'm just gonna freestyle 4 bars, and it sounded cool. It was like one of those like weird one take things, and I was just like, I'm just leave it in there. So,
it sounded super hip hop. It was a dope hip hop.
Yeah,
moment.
It was like a really hippity hop ass moment, dude. I walked out of the studio, you know, as soon as I came my bedroom, I opened the door, like there was a DJ there, and they were just like, drop that beat, son. Like it was, you know, it was sick.
It was sick, absolutely.
That was a dope record, though. I think it turned out really sick.
Yeah.
Now the last track.
The last track.
I was trying to think of a cool way to say the last track.
I mean, it is what it is. The last track on New Moon, Lil Empathy, featuring Ashido Brown. So this song I wrote actually shortly before, I wrote and recorded it shortly before Lil Peep died. And it's funny, not funny, I always say that. I mean tragic.
Well, it's strange. It's fun.
It's strange how it's yeah, I guess it was applicable then too. You know, he didn't have to die for the message to be applicable, but I guess that intensified it. And it was about not just him, just like a lot of the lil rappers, the new lil rappers that are really young, generally really young, and partake in a variety of self-destructive behaviors, and they're surrounded by people that, you know, oftentimes older than them, and like they know what they're doing, and they're allowing the self-destruction to happen, and sometimes they feed into it because they know that it sells, or that it plays into the aesthetic or perception of an artist. And I feel like the audience buys into it, whether they're hating on the artist or they're absolutely trying to imitate them, whichever like extreme side of the spectrum you're on, you're kind of doing a disservice to the person by disregarding the context of who they are as human beings, you know? Because at the end of the day, these are just normal ass people. So low empathy is about dying in a world that glorifies and romanticizes depression instead of taking it seriously and trying to treat it. So yeah, that's what it's about. And it is taking the perspective of a rapper like that and speaking from their perspective. And as someone who's had sort of streaks of depression and self-destruction throughout my life, I relate to a lot of these kids across many levels. Even if I don't always like their music, I do sympathize, and I wouldn't wish death or depression upon nobody.
Yeah, that was really well said. I like that song a lot. Like, a lot.
Thank you, man.
Like, I want to marry it.
Thank you.
Can I do that legally?
Yeah, let me just fax you the papers.
Okay, cool. Would my girlfriend be upset?
Probably. I mean, let me fax you a Glock 9 while I'm at it.
Yo, I'll take care of her real quick.
Right?
She'll not get in the way of my love.
So that's it. I mean, that's New Moon. And to me, you know, it's like during Ramona and Beneath the Toxic Jungle, it felt like we just kind of stopped and kind of assessed who we were and what was going on around us. We just recorded, or speaking for myself, I recorded things that meant the most to me at the time, things that were on my mind. I had to get out, whether it was venting frustrations or, you know, kind of looking back and kind of reminiscing things through a nostalgia lens. And I think now I'm at a point where I did the same thing. I took sort of a break from running or walking or whatever, or climbing, and just kind of assessed the situation, assessed myself, and just spoke from the heart again. And it's not very different in that regard. It's just me speaking from the heart. It just so happens that a number of my priorities have changed, and it's cool now because I can look at it and I can track sort of progress in terms of my maturity, or sort of a switch in my priorities and things like that. It's interesting to see how I can almost map my development as a person. So New Moon was just that, and it is an end of a particular era, because I do think I'm becoming someone very different. So yeah,
dude, I totally feel you on that. You can kind of apply what you just said to how I feel about it too. Like, it does kind of feel like an end of a chapter, and like the start of a new one. You know what I mean? And I think that's like a good thing. You know what I mean? Like I said in a couple songs, I fear change, but sometimes you gotta get a little scared sometimes to and fight through your fears and face your fears to grow and become like a better person. And that's something that you're gonna have to do literally throughout the entirety of your life, because you don't stop growing. If you do stop growing, then, like, as a person, not physically, because that'd be weird, but if you do stop growing, then you become stagnant and sad, and I don't think that's good. So, you know, you gotta try to keep pushing on and keep, like, learning things about yourself and growing, and just physically until you're 12 feet tall, you know?
Yeah, you just sort of, until you're a kaiju.
Yeah, exactly, because that's all we wanted to be when we were kids, and we can do it now.
Preach,
bring it in, brother. Little closer. Come on.
Oh wow, more damn than before. So
yeah, you know.
And just to close all of this off, I'm really happy that we've put out another body of work, and I'm excited for this year, because I feel like we're working on a whole lot of new stuff. And also, feels good to be back doing the We Don't Suck podcast. It's been a while. It felt weird. It was nice to take a break from it and concentrate on some personal life stuff, but I'm excited about doing all of this again. And
I'm glad to be back in the We Don't Suck chair.
Yeah, I look forward to the sequel to Twin Towers, doing that with you too. So
yeah, dude.
Lots to look forward to.
Yeah, man, I'm really excited about this year. Hope everybody's new year was new and a year. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. If you're still in 2018, like, you know, I'm really sorry, man.
Dude, I'm so 3008. Y'all so 2018.
All life in hardline for our time I ghost. Your time is part-time, I off trying close. But won't lie, I've strolled by my whole life and no lie, you alright, but not me. A top piece and lone fight. This cockpit got no pilot. Long Beach like a known pirate. Follow speeches of fallen times and spark trees. What the fuck I like it? Ooh, I think they mad, Bill. Cause Bill and Red our songs make your girl pop her booty like it's Advil. Pulling on down the hill. What the hell? Who let the demons out? Looking up how they sell. Talking about themselves. They speaking about all of they fucking ills. On about how they feel. They feelings down. You showing you what is real. Show you what it really be about. See me and you got a thing.